Today we're going to be looking at a game I got against Danny Rensch. Many of you guys know him as Danny Rensch, the co-founder of chess.com. He's an international chess master. This is a 29-move victory by me using a dubious sideline in the French. We're going to discuss the core concepts, main ideas, focal rotations of the line so that you can give it a try. But first, we're going to start off with like a 5-minute tangent. As you guys know, I like chess to be the background, the opinion to be the forefront. So what is this also likable guy going to talk about today? Well, we're going to start off by talking about this. I saw this. I was like, wow, winners crowned at second chess Olympiad for people with disabilities. Beautiful tournament. Which country got first? The country of FIDE. Poland got second. Israel got third. And I was like, does anybody see the irony in this? Who decides? Who decides these things? It's quite comical. I mean, it's actually quite sad, right? But you got to find sad things funny. Otherwise, you're just going to get crushed. So you got to find it comical. It's the only other way. That's what humor is for. And I was like, but flags are a cultural thing, right? To a common people, a flag has to deal with their culture that they could be proud of. We're just the common man, right? We're not people at the top making decisions, doing things. So like, who is who to ban a flag? Right? Because then it's like, why is this one banned, this one not? Who's banning? It's suspicious stuff I don't like so much. And this can be extrapolated out. So my next tangent is going to be, you guys know I like to poke fun of the WGM title because it just doesn't make too much sense to me. Right? Like we have Judith Polgar, who's a grandmaster, an actual grandmaster. And we don't call her a woman grandmaster. Just like we don't call Magnus a male grandmaster. Right? What are you going to say? A woman grand? It's just devaluing words. It's blobbing words. Words have meaning. You might say, why do you care? Let it be. Leave it be, rather. But I would argue that when you're arguing principle, things like this matter. And it just doesn't make too much sense to me. That's not to say WGMs are bad at the game. Right? They're like 23, 24, maybe even 2,500. I faced them on chess.com. And anybody could have opinion about them, right? Because anybody can have an opinion, right? So I'm 2,700, for example. They're in the 99th, 98th percentile. I'm in the 99.999th percentile. Someone could be in the 99.999999th percentile and destroy me, but it doesn't matter. That's not the point, right? And it might be like, people might be like, who is this nobody talking about a somebody? I don't understand words like that because every somebody was once a nobody. And then it's like, where's your degree? Listen, I don't play in tournaments because why would I waste my time, money, and energy going for something that if I obtained one day could just be rescinded or stripped or taken from me because I said a joke that I found funny or I said something that I think and people don't like, and then like, who are you to determine like my worth, right? Like, I know my record against these people online. And you know, if I got banned on chess.com for a mean opinion, I would play on Lead Chess. If they banned me on Lead Chess, I'd play on a real board. They could take my real board away. I'll play chess in my head because I just love the game of chess. But that whole like title, it brings to the degree topic, which we're gonna go on a little bit of a tangent. So grab your popcorn. Real ones are still watching. But I went to university for mechanical engineering with a background in aerospace. I was going to get my degree in 3.5 years. I passed 3 years. And then it was the last semester. And that was the semester you had to come with your booster to campus. And I was like, I didn't get my booster. I'm not going to get my booster. Not going to get the prerequisite. Never got the prerequisite to it. Because that was just my stance. They were like, well, no, you can't come back then. Filed for an exemption. Denied, kicked out. I was like, wow, okay, well, spent 3 years of my life on something I loved, enjoyed, wasn't all too bad at, took out all the loans in the world, you know, did what you had to do, and then you're just booted, just like that. And then I see these people getting their degrees in 5 years. I was like, they're no Nikola Teslas or Edison if you're born in the West and that's who you know about. So I was like, you know, so I could give a shit about this moral mob, these opinions, right? You need to be like a one-man army, right? You can't want people to defend you because then you're going to morph your opinions, right? You're going to be going for something that's not your own thoughts. You're going to be influenced. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't know how it came to my mind by doing this, but you just need to say what you need to say. People are going to agree. People are going to disagree. People might try to ruin you. Who cares? I tie my opinions to my face and my name. As long as I have a clear conscience and I know the angle of approach I'm taking, that's all that matters. Now we're going to get into chess. There might be 2 videos today because I know Hans destroyed Ding. And we have that Gukesh, Fabi, Hikaru, Magnus game going on. Tournament, rather. So after work, I might record another one. But bishop to b4, the winnower. What do you know about the winnower? Well, it's a line in the French, but so is queen to d7. Has anybody ever seen this line? The point is, white intends on going queen to g4 to aim at the weakened g7 square since the bishop decided to pin this knight. So this queen on d7, though it makes this bishop extra stupid, it x-rays over to g7, so queen g4 can be met with f5. You might be like, well, what are you going to do with this guy? This guy sucks. You're going to go b6. You're going to go for the bishop trade. The light squared bishop trade, like in the Stonewall Dutch, is beneficial for you. So you're happy with the trade. So we got queen g4, prediction of the year, pawn f5. Pawn f5. Things to note here. En passant is a move, but you would take with the knight, you castle, you have the open f-file, and you gain a tempo on the queen. Other things to note are queen h5, you can go g6, but I recommend going queen f7. The French player should always be okay with a queenless middle game, right? A queen trade typically helps the French player because you have the more compact, more concise, locked pawn structure, so the knight pair will serve you well. I'm biased because I love endgames, so I'm always open to a queen trade. So study your endgames and things like that can be nice. So we got queen g3, bishop a6, electing for the bishop trade, and queen c f7. Kind of a preemptive measure. The point is you can assume all good players, IMs are pretty good at the game usually, are going to push their flank pawn. You know, you're going to go h6, they're going to try to clamp down on g6. So the point of queen f7 is to be prepared to play knight e7 to guard the hole on g6 that will soon be created. You can't really go knight e7 with the queen on d7 because then you'll lose defense on g7 and they'll take. Here, not so much at all. So we get knight e2, knight e7, and you just continue developing. Prediction of the year, they're pushing their flank. It's what they like to do. But like WGM's blunder a piece in 1, so did Danny Rensch. On to c4. His bishop is locked. Sometimes it's forgotten, but now it's phase 2, right? Winning the one chess game. How do you do this? You develop and you push on the king side. Now I decided to go g6 here because I want to play for g5, but I don't want en passant. I should have went rook to g8 and played pawn to g5, but I'm not the greatest. So I went pawn to g6, still very winning, but they can lock it up with h6 and play for something. But they went a4, and now you get rook g8, and it's everything you want in life. Bishop to a3, claiming this diagonal, but your pawns get through. Now you kind of push them backwards, and you win everything, and then you kind of just steamroll on the king side. So, for example, pawn f4, what do we know about the French? Queen trades typically help the French player. So you're okay with the queen trade, rather, and you win a pawn. Knight to c1, bishop c4. This bishop owns this knight. And you just keep building on the king side. Look at this king. I love this. You can stay in the center, and it's also such a safe king. I don't know what he's doing, but we're expanding. I know what I'm doing. Pawn to g3. You take. What's the best move here? Knight e3. Now, if rook g1, you just go here. Castle, double up your rooks, win. Maybe he mouse slipped. But it doesn't matter. We have mate on the board. If king e1, rook e2 is mate. And if king f3, there's also a forced mate. Try to find it. Bishop to e2. Knight f5. Confining the box. The enemy king in a box. Rook to g1 is the only way to stop rook to g4 mate. You give a check, but it's not a spite check. King f7. Can you believe this is forced mate? Their king is on your side of the board. My house, my rules. Your house, my rules. And rook to g8 is just checkmate. So pretty cool checkmate. Thank you as always for watching. Have a great day. Seriously, if you made it this far, you're a tank, you're a beast. I appreciate you. Have a nice day. Peace.